What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's happening, party people? Hey, 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 hey. So, as I said, I was going to come at you guys live today, starting a conversation series that my coffee line, Signature Blends by KF, is hosting, or sponsoring, I should say. Signature Blends by KF, thank you. Again, my team is so great. As soon as I ask them to, really do something, they're just Johnny on the spot. And so what I wanted to do, as you've heard me say and talk about in the wake of every civil rights movement, every bit of activism, all of that, just how we do this, you know what I mean? I felt like I wanted to use my platforms in a way that would be, first and foremost, authentic. But then I wanted to find ways, of course, to inspire, and then just try to give tangible tools and information that you can make informed decisions about how you can navigate and move forward. So I'm going to bring on a gentleman, Mr. Darrell Lloyd. He is a 26-year law enforcement professional, okay? He's the current Deputy Chief Investigator at the Office of the State Attorney, 8th Circuit, okay? And he has worked as a school resource officer. He's worked in gang detective, arson investigations, community police officer, and a patrol officer. And so I'm going to bring him on at the moment, and we're going to touch base with him. I got some things I want to talk about, I want to ask about. And this is not because, hello, sir.
Hey, good evening. How are you doing?
Excellent, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. In spite of.
Yeah. And when I say excellent, please understand that it's relative.
Okay, I understand.
Yes. But thank you so much for joining me this evening. Everyone, again, how would you like for me to address you, sir?
Darry's fine.
Okay.
Darry, Larry with a D, it's fine.
Okay. I know that a lot of people have just so many questions and so much anger and so much feeling like today, honestly, real talk, and y'all know that's all I'm gonna do. I felt like I was on this locomotive that was like a runaway train that had no more track. Like I couldn't see any more track on this train that felt like it was out of control. And I'm thinking, well, where's the superhero that's gonna come and lay across to fill in some track? Or where's the superhero that's gonna come and pull back so that it slows down and stops? And I realized, family, that at a certain point, we have to be our own superhero. But how do we do that? Superheroes train and they do a lot of stuff and they get information about the issue that we're dealing with. So anyway, I wanted to speak to you because I felt like my expectations were not lining up with my knowledge of what is happening. So for those of you who don't know, we had an incident. There was an incident in Atlanta last night. And another Black man was killed. Plain and simple. But not at all plain and simple. So, and forgive me, everybody, if I'm all over the place. I'm really trying to bring shape to this conversation and to engage this wonderful law enforcement official, Mr. Lloyd, who has agreed to come on and dialogue with me and with us about this. As a layperson, of course, I look at that and I think, wow, What? Okay. Why does it seem like fatal is the order of the day? Why does it seem like it doesn't matter what the condition is, what the circumstance is, all they know to do is fatally wound, take the life. So why does it seem that way? How is it the training?
So that's a loaded question. One, the reason why it seems like that, because if you just pause and look at the day, that's what's happening. So we can't say, it isn't happening. People that are saying it's not happening, we're kind of tone deaf as to what's really going on. Yes. And what's going on to people of color.
Yes.
What I can say is, in my career, I have never been in some of the positions that some of these officers have placed themselves in, and that may be because of training. Now, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback on Twitter, on other videos.
Hold on 1 second. I just want to make sure I heard you. You were breaking up a bit. You said it's easy to Monday morning quarterback.
Yes.
And I understand that. As a sports fan, I understand that from the standpoint of it's easy to go back and analyze everything after the fact.
But guess what? That's
in real time.
But that's also what we're taught when you're in training, that you will be second guessed. Your decisions will be analyzed for future, and it'll be another training moment. Whether you want it to or not, everything you're doing matters. And that's one of the challenges that every officer is facing. We're in a position, we got to humanize police officers again. Well, to humanize, we want those officers to human themselves and put themselves in the other person's shoe as well. A lot of times, officers don't know how to talk right. They talk down. They're not, being as human themselves when they're operating, and that's all folks really want. I'm not from the South, so when I talk, my slang is a little different. But people want to be treated like they're somebody, regardless of what your stature is. That's how they want to be treated. If you don't, when you keep poking the bear, like you say, you have 19 or 20 days of protest and riot because you never addressed the concern. You just kept on going on as business. And today, we have, I would say every 4 hours, there's another video pop up of another death that occurred, even historically. Because now you have people going back a year saying, well, this happened also.
Right.
But it never made any news.
Yeah.
But now it's making news.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge we have.
Okay. So, and for those of you who are just now joining, I'm speaking with Mr. Darrell Lloyd. He is a 26-year law enforcement professional. He is currently the Deputy Chief Investigator for the Office of State Attorney, 8th Circuit. He has worked as school resource officer, gang detective, arson investigator, community police officer, and a patrol officer. Okay?
Can I say something real quick?
Please do, sir.
Someone said something, and it's something I repeated. When I started working in law enforcement, we were called peace officers.
You were called?
We're called peace officers. We're called
peace officers.
So over time, what has occurred is they went from peace officers to law enforcers.
Mm.
The new term we're using is guardian versus warrior. That's the modern day return for policing. You want guardians and warriors. Well, I'm still old. I want to go back to when you're peace officers. When the police arrive to the scene, that they're keeping the lately what has occurred is the police arrive and we have to get back to peace officers and not so much chaos, and that's going to take all of us. Police officers they're part of the community, not a part away.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to view themselves as part of that very community. They have to be reflective. And it doesn't matter your color. You can be black, white, it don't matter. You go out there, you make a mistake. You in blue. That's all what folks calls it. That's what.
Right.
But you got to get back to being a peace officer and dealing with your friends and your neighbors your cousin, them, all like their society. That's our charge.
So then let me ask you, and guys, I'm sorry. I know the connection is a little wonky going in and out, but just stay with them, okay? Stay with us. So in terms of solution-oriented conversation, oftentimes we hear, right now it's this like just throw the baby out with the bathwater, you know, defund, dismantle, and all of this. Where is the fine, laser focused, strategic energy that really pinpoints certain things? For example, training. Now, when certain crises have happened that affected an entire industry, like this is affecting the police industry, so to speak. And of course, it's affecting the world. And guys, don't start, you know, hear what I'm saying. In terms of the people that need the training, this is not foolishness, and I will not go and sit myself down. If you're not feeling this, then go someplace else. This is an important conversation, Clayton. So take your behind and sit down somewhere. I am a mother, I am a citizen, and I'm an activist. I am a wife, I am a Black woman, and this shit is important. So when we're talking about what to do, and we deal with solutions, when you end up having this sort of what we have known is systemic, at some point, then we have to redirect and we have to retrain. So even in this moment, dealing with certain training, is that an option? And I will not calm down. Get off my page, y'all. Get off my page. Get off of my page. I will not calm down.
So your challenge to your question that when you deal with training is training enough, and you have to have constant training. It can't just be what worked when I was back in '94 was great for '94, but you know, 95, 97 came around. You need to be retrained.
Yes.
What's going on around you? How the country's evolving? You know, what is your community really demanding of you? And a lot of what has occurred is there's been a lot of resistance to the change.
Mm-hmm.
You have resistance to change. Well, you have an explosion. So it's not necessarily. There's no cookie cutter solution, but the simplicity behind it is all must be a part of their respective communities. So regardless.
They said that again. Wait a minute. I want to make sure they heard you. You said the officers have to be a part of their respective communities.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's a must, and that is a demand from the community. You got to realize now, regardless of the size of your agency, size of your community, you have a government that pays for policing, that pays for public safety. And the demand for you is you elect or you appoint folks or citizens that, because remember now, you're a citizen police officer. You're not the military. So you sit down, you know, shoulder to shoulder with everybody in your community, and it's your job to determine how you want to be policed. We've allowed
whose job? Wait a minute. So it's whose job to determine how they want to be policed? Because you said something so critical. You said that the police are of the citizens. It's not military police.
Right. And the problem, what we've allowed our police and our government to dictate to us what they're going to do, as opposed to the opposite. Right? You're supposed to dictate to them what you desire. And that's through policy.
Through policy? You said it's through policy.
Policies and training. That's how you do it. So now we're at a cusp, like, okay, what's going to happen now? Well, how are you going to change now? What do you want to change? You know, when do you sit down? I mean, let's go to the police academies, and let us look at how you're training those folks out of your academy.
Yes.
What are you teaching? You know, are you teaching them how to be a part of the? Or are you teaching them how to just enforce the laws?
Right.
You know, that's huge.
Right.
Now they'll tell
right.
you, well, we don't have time to do that. Well, you do have no time to do that if you choose to. But that's across the board. I mean, you have, you know, I think training modules for the state of Florida, maybe like 3 months, 3.5 months of police academy. Well, can you increase that? You know, do you need more training, just the what we call the interpersonal training part of it, so you can walk through your neighborhood, find out, hey, you need to volunteer at the school for 2 weeks before you hit the road? What do we want to see from our police officers? And that's the community's demand. And right now, everyone's listening now.
Yeah.
So if they're listening now it's time to request and do things and make sure that those policies are enacted upon. Don't say you got policy and put on the shelf.
Right.
Right.
And you have a lot of people, and guys, this is the beginning of a lot of conversations. We're not going to be able to solve everything right this second, okay? We are trying, and we're going to have more and more conversations that produces action and results. So coming up next, we have Latasha Morrison. She is the founder of Be the Bridge. She's a New York Times best-selling author, and she has a phenomenal program that is really, really impacting race relations, racial reconciliation, and she's just fantastic. She's an award-winning founder of this platform that she's created. So, sir, and again, thank you so much for this. In terms of this moment, so to speak, because we feel like, you know, at least it's almost like I go back to expectations. And Latasha, I see you, and I'm coming to you right after this. When we deal with our own expectations, there are certain boxes that I feel, at least for me, that I know that I check off when I see, you know, the madness. And so I go, well, okay, good. They've been fired. And it's like, well, shit, they supposed to be. But at the same time, that's policy that in some places, that's not even policy. So as we are looking to fine tune and to clear out and purge some of these things that are within policy, right? So we have, yes, we understand that training, but I'm struck by this. We have, like, I have friends who are realtors, and every so often, and realtors, if you're on here, let me know what it is. Either it's annually, every 6 months or something like that. They have those boards that they have to take. I have a friend, her fiance is a pilot, a commercial airline pilot. And he has to train and retrain all the time. Where's the retraining in these moments right now? Well, and I don't care if it's from a Monday morning quarterback or in real time, get off of the street and revise this. Or, hey guys, right before you hit the street this week, let's just get some basics up in here.
So to that, now, that's loaded. Because one, there is research and training for all, and I'm thinking of the state of Florida. There's research and retraining. Some trainings, some is, you know, you have to complete within 4 years. Some you have to, for different agencies, you get to do every month. There's series of trainings you're doing just to make sure you're sharp, make sure your awareness is keen. But that's, you got to realize, every jurisdiction is different. There's no national level. You got to train this. Now, in the state of Florida, there is. I'm pretty sure in Georgia there may be. In California, New York, there's different training modules across the board, and that's what they do. Now, you start out by saying individual level expectation. I have 2 boys, 10 and 13. I had to have a conversation with my boys to get a feel for what they are hearing, experiencing, in light of what in our country. It's difficult because as a parent, I would have to have that kind of conversation with my little. People about my life, but still, I'm having a conversation, and it's a change because now we're talking about our expectations, and I had to deal with what my kids expect and what their friends expect. And my boys simply said, I said, what do you think was going on? They don't watch the news, they walk by the news, right? They're walking by, but they have friends. And they said, well, the police are killing black people. I said, well, dang, harsh. I mean, your dad's a cop, he killing black. No. I said, so let's talk about that. And so it's grounded in faith, right? We're grounded in our spirituality and how we deal with stress things. That's what we do our prayers at night and in the morning. We deal with things because Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is He's our Savior. So we talk about that directly. Talk about being respectful and respect this. The counter to that conversation is this: what happens when somebody disrespects you? What happens when somebody does something, and how do you respond? And the difficult start of the conversation, we haven't finished our conversation. We got to talk about it all the time now. Is that you allow, one, you remain your composure, but then you make sure at the soon time you tell on another parents, because we have to address that. How do we address it? What's my level of expectation? I expect the officers to deal with my kids like they do. How they deal with my mom. I don't want you talking to my family, because that's what I expect. And I want now, because I believe that any officer that deals with that, they also don't want people talking to their family. We have to make sure that our levels of expectation are equal. We demand that those officers in the community treat us with the same respect they want to be treated with. Not lesser, but the same. Our problem that I've seen on every video I've seen, they have
a what?
They have less respect for the folks they are patrolling with than they do themselves.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So we have to go back.
No, that's that bullshit. Sorry, I'm sorry.
You're right.
Go ahead.
No, but you're right. You're right. So how do you go back and retrain that? How do you go back? That's the demand.
Sir, let me pause you right quick. I gotta let me get rid of some stuff right here.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Well, that's the demand. Now, and that's our greatest argument. And I would say they have been tone deaf for a very long time. Now we have their attention. So now you got to redirect their attention, and we have to demand that our expectation of our police officers are where we want them to be, not where you want to give them. Because that's the other equation. They want to tell us how they want to police. No, we're going to tell you how we demand.
Right.
And that starts at the local level, and it travels up to the elected office. This is election.
Exactly. You know, and I'm glad you said that. So everybody, what he just said was that this is also an election season. Okay, this is an election year. Please do not get distracted by folks making empty promises. Do not get distracted by people deciding that now they're going to pick up this mantle because they want your vote. Check people's records. How have they been voting on these issues? What do they support in this climate right now? So don't get distracted by that, because they know how to chop up and edit videos on their phones just like we all do, and make it look like they've been supporting this, being on the right side of history for a long time, and they have not been. So don't get distracted as all this information is coming into you, especially as the elections really start to ramp up for us.
Well, what you're saying is, real quick, what I say is, miss me with the symbolism. I don't need you taking the knee. I want to know what you're going to do when you get on the dais, and how you're going to vote, and how you're going to change policy. Let's do that fast. I don't want don't walk with me if you ain't change the policies. If you're not going to make some fundamental, and like you said before, tangible change in how we operate. And the other part is, when we talk about symbolism, let's really look at our economic diversity and equality opportunities, because we're still missing the low-hanging fruit is law enforcement. But we speak on systematic racism, it crosses the gamut in education, banking, and finance, and housing. So we gotta, if we're going to demand stuff, let's truly demand to get those systems that have oppressed the people of color for decades.
I have to jump over to Latasha at this moment, but I appreciate you opening up the conversation. Guys, we know that we are going to have a series of conversations, one cup at a time. And so basically being able to sit down and talk about things over a cup of coffee, or a glass of wine, or a cup of tea, or a meal, or things like that. And sometimes we have to get our anger and do this to it so that we can just sit at the table and not spew at each other, but hear one another and be able to understand. I learned a lot in this conversation, just in terms of what some of the process is, the path is, so that, yes, I understand there are lots of components to impact change. And there's one piece here, and one piece here, and one piece here, and there's a lot of pieces. So I really appreciate it, and I look forward to dialoguing with you again and again and again. Thank you so much. And last minute, I know that we just reached out, so I appreciate you jumping on in and you know, answering some tough questions and tackling the difficult nature of this from your position professionally, but also as a parent. And also, shit, as a Black man. That ain't lost on me on who I'm looking at right here. So I appreciate you. I'm kind of dark here, you know. You can't talk to me. But we will have you back on here. So thank you very much. I appreciate you. And you and your family stay safe, okay? Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, guys, coming up next, we're going to have Latasha. We are going to have Latasha Morrison join us. Now, listen, again, all of this conversation is then to inform us so that we can then make decisions. If we're going to reach out to our city council, if we're going to protest, if we're going to attend a rally or council meetings and things of that nature. So that's why we have these conversations. That's why I wanted to make sure that I was voicing what's on my heart, because I know I'm not alone in all this. And then being able to move in that, again, to take steps and not just talk, but you have to be armed with your knowledge and with that power. We understand that there are things that are hundreds of years old. Some of this is not brand new, folks. Some of this is hundreds of years old. And so, of course, breaking up that fallow ground is going to take a lot of jackhammer type work to dig in and get to the root. But we're going to do it.